Hello, you wonderful people, and welcome to another episode of Super-Fanta-Fi. This being a show where we talk about TV shows of the supernatural, fantasy, and or science fictional genre. For today's episode, I'm going to talk about the latest episode of Supernatural. Another great episode, and a lot of stuff happened in this episode, a lot of things we learned, so I'm going to package everything bit by bit. Obviously, this episode, kind of interesting because I literally brought him up last episode, because I was wondering about the whole Hell situation, like where would Hell stand now that Lucifer as well as Crowley are both gone. It seems like Hell's just kind of like going through motions because it's like they're waiting for Lucifer to come back, but we know where Lucifer is. Sadly, they don't. It seems like Asmodeus returns, the final prince of Hell, who I also brought that up too. It's like typically they kind of seem like they were the most like, oh, we'll kind of keep to ourselves. We won't bother with. It seems like it's interesting because it seems like every one of them. It seems like the only one, I forgot his name. It's something with an R. I don't remember. He was like the first quote unquote technical prince of Hell because they didn't realize like. Azazel was one, but he was like the most like, nah, leave me alone, because he's always come up. Well, Asmodeus is kind of off on his own, but he said amongst anyone, Dagon was like the most loyal. I mean, it seems like it's because Dagon had a huge thing for Lucifer, and that's why she's like, oh yeah, the baby comes and me and Lucifer, we can be a family. Like, she was in love with Lucifer, is why she was so loyal to him. Asmodeus, we end up interestingly learning that the reason why he is so loyal is because he always was, but then the marks on his face are from Lucifer, because it's something that kind of plays into the episode, but obviously the whole Shadim thing, he wanted to release them, which Lucifer was like super scared of, which is interesting considering the fact is Lucifer's not scared of anything. I mean, the only person he was actually scared of was Amara, because she was like ridiculously powerful. So even him as an archangel didn't stand a chance on his own. So there's that. So if this thing scares him, that should say a lot, because Lucifer isn't scared of anyone. So he ended up punishing Asmodeus, and Asmodeus was like, oh, like because of that, a true bond was forever forged, and the fact is I will always be loyal to him, which makes me wonder, is that 100% true? The fact is he tried to get Jack to release the Shadim, so it makes me wonder, like, the fact of the matter is Lucifer wouldn't want you to do that, but I guess because Lucifer isn't around anymore, it's like, okay, we're going to do things our own way, like, till they find Lucifer again. I don't know. I'm just waiting for the twist to be like, oh yeah, he's in this for himself. Like, he probably wants Lucifer back just so he could kill Lucifer. Maybe he's just been waiting for the opportunity, and maybe he thinks Jack might be that opportunity, giving him the Shadim, who will be on his side, but the Shadim are so bad that even the pits of hell aren't worth keeping these things in. It's like, so what makes these things so special? What makes them so savage? What makes them so scary that even Lucifer fears them? They must be like that ridiculously powerful for even him to be afraid of them. I mean, it makes you want to go find out more about them. Like, how do they come to be? They must have been something outside of Lucifer's creation for him to be afraid of them, so I'm just thinking maybe Asmodeus has it planned so that when Lucifer returns, he can have the Shadim, even Jack by his side. Because even he's like, oh, Jack, come rule hell. And the fact of the matter is, he can be, his advisor. Like, Asmodeus could be his advisor and everything to mold him into what he needs to be. So, I'm not 100% sold on even Asmodeus' loyalty. It is kind of interesting that he ended up kind of crushing the non-believers. And it's like, oh, all you people who are loyal to Lucifer, awesome. Everyone else, you're dead. So, which kind of going about that really quickly about him is the whole, how he impersonated Donatello this episode, which is kind of interesting, getting Donatello back. It's something I should point out because I almost forgot about him until they start referencing, all right, Amar, right, the most recent prophet of God, which is like, what do you do now that you're not a prophet of God, and the whole, not having a soul thing because of Amara. There's also that other person back in season 11 who lost their soul. They got themselves locked up in jail so they wouldn't have to worry about the whole not having a soul thing, because they were trying to keep it under control, and that was their way of compensating about it. I wonder if that storyline going to circle back around, but nevertheless, Donatello's like, I don't have a soul and everything, so trying to find his way around that. But in getting back to what I was going to reference, because I wasn't doing a podcast at the time and I had to do my normal acting thing, that actor, I don't know his name. The one thing I know him from is Angel, the TV show Angel, the spinoff from Buffy. He was kind of one of Angel, or rather Angelus's, like mortal enemies. He played a part in the story. Like that's what the main thing I know him from. He's been in other stuff, I'm sure, but that's the one thing like I know him from. But nevertheless, it's so interesting. Kind of going back even further to what I was going to talk about before is Asmodeus shapeshifting. None of the others ever did that. So it's like, it seems like maybe some of the princes of hell's, like, obviously they have their own powers and effect of how powerful they are, sure, but it's like, it seems like that's something only he has. I wonder, is he like the oldest amongst the princes of hell? Was he like the first one? Because like none of them ever showed having that ability. Azazel definitely didn't. Dagon didn't either. So it's like, did each one of them have their own special ability or something? Or is it just him? Does he have other things under his arsenal? Which, that's going to be hard to deal with going forward, because it's not like he's a shapeshifter, so you can't use silver to reveal what he really is. So that's going to be really hard to beat. Especially now, because obviously Sam and Dean find out this episode, it's like both heaven and hell now know about Jack, and it's like it's a free-for-all to get him and try to decide what they're going to do with him. It's something interesting that Donatello brings up this episode too, like, where they stand in this whole situation, because both of them represent, like, Sam and Dean represent both sides of the spectrum of like nature versus nurture. Sam believes in nurture and Dean is the nature. Like, the fact is, Dean believes you cannot change it no matter who he is. He's Lucifer's spawn. That means there's no changing him. He will always end up being that way. Everything he does is just kind of like, oh, this is him feigning innocence. But Sam believes complete opposite. The fact of the matter is, Sam believes that if you channel his powers for good, he could be a great asset. He could do a lot of good. It's what, his mom wanted in the first place. She wanted him to be great good, and that's what Cass believed. But ultimately, Dean believed that was just the baby, Jack at the time controlling him and everything, manipulating his mind. So there's that. I mean, it's actually something Sam kind of dived into. He's like, basically, Dean's got his wires crossed just because he's frustrated, because it's like he has to protect Jack, but at the same time, he has to protect people from Jack. Because for him, Jack represents, it's not even, like, for him, he brings it up, it's like, all we do is we try to find the better option, and it's like, ultimately, that screws us over, so let's start from the beginning and do the better option, which is just to get rid of Jack, which is, like, kind of hard to do, considering the fact is, it seems like nothing can kill him. We found out last episode, an angel blade can't kill him, doesn't even leave a wound, because he immediately heals. They try putting a ward on him, so it'd be harder for other people to track him down. Didn't work. Healed from it. He stabbed himself repeatedly, wounds healed like they were nothing, so he feels pain and everything, sure, which is a new sensation to him, so when he was being tattooed, he kind of lost control, a reflex, and so we can also see that he can teleport too, so there's a lot of power there, even to the point, Sam was kind of saying, like, typically Nephilim become stronger than the angels that gave birth to them, and it's like, well, he is Lucifer's son. Lucifer's an archangel, meaning he's already stupidly powerful, so that means he's going to be even more powerful than an archangel. Very interesting. But all of this is also because Dean, because Jack represents everything. Jack represents everything and everyone that he lost. Cass, his mom, like I said, even in a weird way, Crowley, they all died in his eyes because of Jack and just Lucifer and everything. Like, so much crap happened because of him, and the fact of the matter is, him being Lucifer's kid on top of all of that just means, no, you're forever screwed in my eyes. Which the comparison hasn't been brought up. But let's not forget who your brother is. Your brother is Sam, right? Sam, the same one who was supposed to be destined to be Lucifer's vessel, who that's constantly been a conversation. Let's not forget that was kind of an option that Lucifer was trying to throw back on the table during the whole Amara situation. So there's that aspect of things. Because I think that's even more so why, because Sam knows what it's like to be in that position. He was important to Lucifer too in that regard. Like, Lucifer wanted him because Sam was like the perfect host that he'd never lose himself. So that's why he's at full power to a certain degree, but I think his whole current body and everything is fixed. It keeps him bound. He never has to worry about it losing, dying like it did before because of everything Crowley did to it last season. So there's that angle of things. I don't even know if he's really going to bother with the whole getting Sam as a perfect vessel situation anymore. I don't know if he even bothered with that at this point, especially because they screwed him over and took his son away from him. It's like, I'm most likely going to kill you, son. I mean, he's kind of pretty much already said as much, so. I mean, Dean is still set on the fact of the matter is, it's like, yeah, I don't believe what Sam does, but Sam believes that you can be saved, so, hey, I think there is some level of Dean that is hopeful, but he doesn't want to be hopeful. It's something Sam also brought up too. It's like Dean feels like he has to protect everyone, and the fact of the matter is, on top of the fact is he lost all the people that he cares about the most too. It just makes him feel like he failed his job, and it's like I guess in his mind, it's like the one good thing he can do for the world is take Jack out of the equation. So, like I said, we kind of know where Hell stands with this whole situation. They want Jack to kind of take over the throne, depending on the whole Lucifer situation. But going back to it, I want to know what Heaven has planned for him, because even they won't be able to do any Jack squat against him. Their blades don't work, so not unless they try smiting him or whatever. I mean, they tried that against Mara, and that didn't work. But to be fair, maybe Jack's still weak enough for it. I mean, it's weird to say weak. I mean, it's kind of interesting because even Asmodeus ran away the moment Jack started gearing up, which there was that line of Jack being like, "You're hurting my friends," and it's like, oh, because they actually mean something to him. Even to the point during the episode, he was actually mimicking everything Dean did. Even though Dean doesn't like him, he still, I don't know, I think he almost looks at Dean as almost a father figure. I'm surprised. I mean, I think amongst anyone, probably what he looks to the most is Sam, because Sam believes in him. Sam was the first one like he got to talk to, and Sam was just kind of like, oh, it's okay, it's okay. So, I mean, you don't understand if he harbored some harsh feelings towards Dean, because Dean, first time they met, Dean shot at him and everything. So there's that. I mean, that is the question. Like, how do you go about killing like a Nephilim anyway? Considering the fact is, there's no way to even kill Lucifer per se. Like, the only people that can probably kill Lucifer, maybe God, maybe Amara. She definitely beat the crap out of him when he was in Cassio's body back in like season 11, but it's like, could she actually kill him? The whole thing is about locking him in a cage, but it's like, not unless that's the only option for Jack, is putting him in a cage. But he's stronger than Lucifer, so doesn't that mean he'd be able to break through the cage if needed to be? I don't know. And then obviously on the flip side of things, we had the whole other world situation where we learned so many interesting things about the other world. I mean, for one, like, we had the conversation between Mary and Lucifer. Lucifer wanting to keep her around because it's like, she's a bargaining chip. It's like, you can be traded to your sons for my boy, which is like, ultimately Mary's like, do you really think I'm going to let you win? Because he's like, it's a win-win situation, which Mary tried to get away from it at first. Didn't work out. The guy that was kind of creepy at everything, informing her about everything, he's like, oh, right. Oh, kind of spend a little time with me. And Lucifer punched a hole through his chest. Because the conversation came up too of like, oh, I want to be a father and everything. And Mary's like, what do you want to be a father for? Like, are you really capable of being a father? And he's basically like, you don't tell me, you don't really know what I'm capable of. Like, what is Lucifer's motives of wanting to be a parent? Me immediately is like, oh, you just want to show up your dad. You want to be like, oh, dad, this is how you be a real son. Because outside of your son, you have nothing. You don't have anything important to hold on to. It's not like you have a good relationship with your dad. You have daddy issues, so I'm sure that plays a role in the whole reason why he's doing what he's doing. But also because someone to love and take care of and call his own. The question is, when it's all said and done, will your son even love you? Because Jack ended up reading a little bit about the Bible. Even though it does seem like he is naive, he doesn't know everything. He picks up language and stuff like that while he was inside his mom's belly, but it doesn't seem like he really knows everything, because even like he's asking like, oh, who's God? Oh, God created they? Oh, so my real father Lucifer. Like, what else beside it? I mean, he has an inkling, because he does remember like Lucifer calling to him like when Crowley had him captured and everything. So ultimately that's where I lie in that whole situation. There is a little bit of, obviously there's a selfishness to it, like I said, daddy issues and selfishness, but maybe in some twisted way there will be some love. Maybe that'll end up making Lucifer change. I highly doubt it, but still. The flaming rocks that have been falling all over the place, seems like those are actually angels. And also we ended up finding out Michael's alive in this world because Lucifer's dead in this world. And Lucifer's like, wait, what? I'm dead in this world. What kind of messed up world is this? Because he died in this world from their clash, which is kind of interesting. I mean, granted, very different from the world that the show mainly takes place in, considering the fact is he's kind of even like, Lucifer's like, yeah, you're very different from the Michael I left behind, because he's just kind of a mess, after everything that went down. I was wondering about that, because it's like anytime Michael came up in conversation, we never saw him. Like when the whole like Amara situation was up, it's like he wasn't in a cage with Lucifer. I guess it was kind of like an interdimensional type of thing of like, oh yeah, like here I am, like we came here specifically to talk to Lucifer, so we summoned up Lucifer, but Michael was back in like the real cage or whatever. So I don't know. It's like, it's hard to really kind of explain what I mean by that, but hopefully you get what I mean. So like Michael's not been apparent in the plot for a very long time. The last time we saw Michael was back in season 5. He's been mentioned a couple of times subsequently since the whole like Lucifer and him both being caged. But him and Lucifer kind of duke it out a little bit, and then Lucifer's arm is getting twisted. He's like, ow, ow, ow. He's like, no, it's just a little pain, but it's like Michael's twisting his arm a little more. He's like, so what are you going to do, kill me? He's like, no, I might need you. So immediately my brain goes, why? Is it because you're trying to rebuild the world that you basically helped destroy? I guess for him, like, I'm curious, like, because in this world, angels and demons are just constantly at war, and humanity's caught in the middle. Lucifer's dead, but it doesn't stop demons from wreaking havoc like they have been, and becoming the mutations that they are, that we kind of got to see last season, and in season 12's finale. Plus, like, when we saw, well, we saw one in particular that was kind of dead in the background in this episode. But I do wonder, like, does he need an antagonist? Does he need an enemy? Is he bored because the world is the way it is and he's thirsting for a fight? But maybe he needs, maybe not all the angels are swayed to his side. Maybe in some twisted way, he needs Lucifer alive to keep the demons under wrap. While he controls the angels, Lucifer controls the demons and keep. I don't know. I'm curious to see, like, what he does about all that. Like, what does he need Lucifer for? Those are immediately where my brain goes. Is either like, oh, I need to fight, or I need you to kind of bring back balance. I hate to admit it, but I need you, which is interesting considering the fact that they just kind of deeply hate each other. Not only daddy issues, but family issues in general, too. I mean, it seems like that's going to be the main theme of this season, too. Just family issues. But kind of going back to what I was bringing up earlier, too. I wonder what about the whole Donatello situation. When God's kind of going away, what do you do about the whole prophet situation? Like, the fact is he was drawn here by Jack's power and everything, but it makes you wonder, like, beyond that, like, I mean, it seems like he might just be living a regular life. He basically was like, oh, yeah, didn't deal with the whole no soul thing and everything, so. I'm very curious to see what they got in store. I'm loving the direction they're taking this season so far. I'm just curious how everything's going to play out, especially like in the next episode. Having heaven, hell, and a prince of hell kind of all gunning for you, essentially. You're the only thing between them and literally one of the most powerful beings in existence. Arguably, probably the most powerful being in existence, considering the fact is Amara and God are no longer around. Which, even like Jack was kind of like, oh, so that makes God kind of like my grandfather. Which, once again, is like your grandson is here. Like, you would think you would have come, especially because everyone could feel this like sonic boom. It's like, you and your sister are all doing your own thing, family bonding and stuff like that. But I guess it's that grand scale thing of like, the fact is, leave Earth to its like thing. Like, things need to play out the way they need to for maybe when it's all said and done. Maybe I'm talking like far at the end of the season. Maybe we'll have like God returning him and Amara, and it's like, oh yeah, come on, when it's all said and done, I'm gonna raise you. Maybe God will pop up this season and be like, oh, my grandson. So. Like I said, we'll just kind of see. Like I said, a great episode. I'm very interested to see what goes on in the next episode. Also, there is a part of me that still thinks, like, I kind of agree with Sam and thinking, like, Jack can do many things because we still don't know, like, what he's fully capable. I am expecting him to bring back Cassio. Just an inkling. I just get the feeling like that's kind of direction they're eventually going to take. I don't know if he'd be able to do that to his mom. Maybe just because Cass is a special case being an angel and everything. Plus, his mom's in heaven. So, which kind of makes you wonder too, like, because of the whole like trying to get to Jack, maybe they'll use his mom's soul as a way of like, oh yeah, we're threatening your mom's life in heaven because of or you surrender to us. That might be something they do. Angels aren't above being dicks in a show. Let's not forget that. So, but really, that's all I want to talk about in this episode. Till the next time we meet, be happy, be safe, live life to the fullest, and enjoy it. Good day and good